DavidJChalmers, The Conscious Mind, in Search of a Fundamental Theory. Embark on an exploration of the elusive and enigmatic concept of consciousness in the book, The Conscious Mind, in Search of a Fundamental Theory by DavidJChalmers. Delve into the diverse dimensions of consciousness, understand the limitations of materialist explanations, and discover the possibilities of new psychophysical laws. Unravel the mysteries of Oqualia, or the subjective experiences that are unique to each of us, and ponder upon the fascinating notion of a logically possible entity known as the zombie twin. This thought-provoking book summary will spark your curiosity and challenge your beliefs about the nature of consciousness and its relationship to the physical world.
Unveiling the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is a mysterious and fundamental aspect of life that is yet to be fully understood. Although philosophers have rarely attempted to explain it, consciousness is undeniable and essential to human existence. Consciousness is not physical, hence, materialism or physicality cannot explain it. However, any explanation of consciousness must align with neurological and other natural sciences. A hypothesis that aims to explain consciousness should clarify the conditions that trigger physical processes to create consciousness and specify what kind of experience is associated with consciousness. The theory should also elucidate how consciousness emerges in a way that is intelligible rather than magical. Consciousness is both phenomenal and psychological and requires the discovery of new, psychophysical laws. Conscious experience is the most familiar but also the most perplexing aspect of life. Despite its elusive nature, further studies could help unravel the mystery of consciousness. The nature of consciousness. Consciousness is an intense, real, and subjective experience that includes emotions, perceptions, and states of mind. It involves visual, auditory, tactile, and olfactory sensations, as well as thoughts, emotions, and the sense of self. Science struggles to explain why conscious experiences have their particular qualities or subjective feelings, and why conscious systems even have experiences to begin with. Consciousness has a dual character, phenomenal and psychological, and is not the only experience in the mind. Mental activities can be unconscious, although René Descartes believed otherwise. The relationship between consciousness and cognition lies in phenomenal judgments, and mental functionalists try to explain mental states through a cause-effect approach. However, some conscious experiences cannot be explained by behavioral dispositions or functionalists, which suggests that conscious experience may be an exception to the logical supervenience of physical facts. Psychology and Phenomenology. The mind is made up of only psychological and phenomenal dimensions. Pain, for example, is a combination of both. Learning and memory, on the other hand, are mainly psychological. Emotions, such as happiness and sadness, have a significant phenomenal dimension. While science can describe psychological properties, it lacks a language for phenomenal experiences. While physical and psychological properties cannot explain consciousness completely, understanding both dimensions is necessary to understand pain and emotions. Understanding the complexities of supervenience. This passage discusses the concept of supervenience, which is a relationship between properties or sets of properties. It explains that supervenience can be local or global, and differentiates between natural and logical supervenience. The article provides examples of supervenience, including how shape and color supervene on physical properties. Value, however, does not supervene on physical properties. The text argues that this failure of materialism leads to a kind of dualism. There are both physical and non-physical features of the world. Additionally, the article explains logical supervenience through examples and explains it stronger than natural supervenience. The passage concludes that supervenience is an abstract concept that is useful in understanding the relationship between different sets of properties. Materialism and the problem of consciousness. The concept of consciousness and its relationship to the physical world is a hotly debated topic. While materialism claims that all aspects of life are logically connected to physical matter, consciousness may not be. According to the author, the existence of phenomenally insentient zombies can be imagined, and this can't be explained by the materialist account of consciousness. Even color perception can be conceptualized as different physical facts that evoke subjective feelings. Therefore, it is suggested that physical explanations are not enough to account for conscious experience, though they may correlate with it. A suitable theory of consciousness that can explain it might support an unorthodox interpretation of quantum mechanics. Fact of life. Consciousness is a fact of life, but not a physical one. Materialism cannot explain it, and the world has both physical and non-physical elements, known as property dualism. Naturalistic dualism proposes that some natural laws may not be physical, but this is still debated among philosophers. Nevertheless, materialism is inadequate to account for consciousness.
As we conclude our journey through the summary of David.Chalmers, The Conscious Mind, in search of a fundamental theory, it becomes clear that our conventional understanding of consciousness and the physical world leaves many gaps to be filled. The book highlights how materialism fails to sufficiently explain the phenomenon of consciousness and suggests that a naturalistic dualism, which accommodates both physical and non-physical aspects of reality, could be the key to a comprehensive understanding. New psychophysical laws and a recognition of the phenomenal nature of our conscious experiences may ultimately provide us with illuminating insights into the true nature of the conscious mind.